Welcome to Dr. Ed Yardeni's video podcasts, focusing on lessons learned by Dr. Ed during more than 40 years on Wall Street as a chief economist and chief investment strategist. This series is based on his best-selling book, Predicting the Markets.
In this lesson, I'd like to discuss Nairu. Nairu stands for the non-accelerating inflation rate of unemployment. Try to repeat that 10 times. Much easier to repeat the acronym for that, which is Nairu. Nairu is kind of the nirvana unemployment rate. If we can just get down to Nairu, not above it, not below it, we're going to get inflation to remain very stable. It's not accelerating, it's not decelerating. And if it's low enough, it's nirvana because you have basically full employment, as indicated by the very low unemployment rate, with a very low inflation rate. This is the Fed's Shangri-La. This is what the Fed really would like to be able to accomplish. And the Fed, therefore, tends to estimate what Nairu might be. Now, if you look at the chart, the blue line shows that Nairu is an estimated variable, and it's estimated by the Congressional Budget Office. That's the data I'm showing you. I think the Fed has some models that basically come to the same kind of prediction of what Nairu is. So again, keep in mind, Nairu is unobservable. It's kind of a fantasy of models. And I guess the only way to know for sure if you're at Nairu is if you get to that low level and inflation remains rather stable. If you get an unemployment rate that's very low and inflation's making a comeback, then you're obviously below Nairu. So it's really more a function of how the economy actually performs, and Nairu can change. As you can see again in the chart, Nairu's been higher, and now the expectation by the policymakers, particularly at the Fed, is that Nairu is 4.5%. Well, here's the problem: we're below that. We're at 3.7%. And is it possible? I mean, our Fed officials are really thinking about raising interest rates in an effort to bring the unemployment rate back to 4.5%. That would imply a real slowdown in the economy. So that seems to be where their heads are at. But I'm thinking that while we have seen wage inflation pick up, it doesn't necessarily have to go into price inflation. There's productivity, there's technological innovation, there's profit margins that can absorb some of that. And of course, there's a lot of global competition. So my thinking is that perhaps 3.7% is Nairu, and there shouldn't be any particular rush to try to get the economy to slow down to bring the unemployment rate back to 4.5%, which to me doesn't make a great deal of sense. But I'm keeping an open mind. I'm watching the data, and for now, I think we may very well be at Nairu, where the economy continues to have very good employment gains without creating inflation. Thanks for tuning in.